6:08 a.m. In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, in a muddy pit, something dark gray is stirring. At first glance, you might think that's just a big rock. But no, it's not a rock. It's a pile of disappointment. It's a tapir. And this morning, it's still alive. Unfortunately, it opens its eyes. The first thing it sees, its snout. Because tapirs see their snouts first. A big snout. Every morning, always there. Doesn't go anywhere. It takes a deep breath, as if trying to come to terms with its life all over again. It wakes up, but unwillingly. Not like a dog, cheerful. Not like an eagle, majestic. It wakes up like a tapir, meaning, again? It takes around 38 seconds to rise from the mud. It lifts one foot out of the muck, then sinks the other back in. You can hear its knees. Dude, we haven't carried this body properly in years. And finally, with a small but triumphant heave, it stands. The forest doesn't applaud. No one notices. Only an ant continues walking in its shadow. No heroics. Just one more morning survived. First mission, find food. That means grass, but not beautiful, fresh, glamour model grass. Wet, crushed, possibly with some frog pee on it from last night. But there's no luxury of choice. That's tapir life. The worse the grass is, the faster you feel full, because you'd rather not remember what you're chewing. Just as it starts heading for the grass, a sound. Krah! From high above. A bird. The tapir freezes. It doesn't wonder, did it see me? Because birds usually don't announce. They just scream. It recognizes the sound. It's the same bird that pooped on it last week. It glances up. The bird is there, but this time unarmed. The tapir relaxes. A little, but only a little, because nature is never completely safe. 6:41 a.m. It slowly drags its body toward the water's edge. It needs to drink, but there's a problem. This morning, it saw a track by the water, a jaguar. You might say, big deal. Maybe it just passed through. Number this tapir has a strong memory. That jaguar walked by last time too. Then it came back. So this morning, skipping water is also an option. Standing at the water's edge, the tapir leans in to drink, but it sees those tracks. 4 toes, deep claws, a jaguar. Maybe 5 minutes ago, maybe 5 hours ago. But that track is there. And the tapir knows very well what can happen when you make one wrong decision. So, it lifts its head, pricks up its ears. Right now, it must make a decision. Either it drinks, or it stays thirsty and lives a little longer. The tension grows as we narrate, but the tapir slowly begins to back away. It looks at the water and thinks, I'll skip this drink, because tapirs aren't heroes. They're statistics. No one counts the number of tapirs eaten by jaguars each year, or those who survived because they thought, maybe I shouldn't drink here. But our tapir, it may still be alive because it skipped water this morning. 7:12 a.m. The tapir comes back. Its back is muddy. One eye is a bit red. The reason is simple. It survived the morning's first bee attack. Yes, in the Amazon, a bee can sting you. Even from unlikely places, the tapir experienced that. It stuck its head into a bush. There was a bee inside. A small personal drama unfolded. Bee, this is my home. Tapir, I was just passing through. But nature doesn't run on diplomacy. In the end, the bee won. The tapir backed off. Its eye is still watering, but it doesn't complain. Tapirs don't complain. They endure, because from birth they live with flies, bees, snakes, jaguars, mud, and fungal diseases. Now it slowly moves to a less crowded area. There's a tree there. Its bark is stripped. Rubbing against it is like scratching an itch. And for other tapirs passing by, It's a kind of social media post. They look and think, oh, they rubbed there too. Tapir society isn't complex, but they love to leave a mark. 7:48 a.m. Its body is leaning against the tree, slowly rubbing back and forth. It seems a bit relaxed. It closes its eyes, and at that very moment, it poops. Yes, tapirs usually do it this way. In moments of peace, a soft little pft sound comes from behind. The forest sees this as normal, but one individual doesn't. The capybara standing next to it. The capybara flinches slightly. It turns to the tapir, gives a look as if to say, seriously? Right next to me? The tapir doesn't even look back, because what the capybara thinks doesn't affect its life. By now, it has completed about 30% of its morning. It's alive. Its belly is a bit full. It's had a good rub. Now, it can get a little sleep. But the morning isn't over yet, because from deep within the forest, a sound is coming. A metallic click. The tapir has never heard this sound before. It follows the sound, lifts its head. In the space between the trees, where the sunlight beams through, there's something. It's moving, but not naturally. Small, round. It hums. A drone. Humans are here. A new fear begins for the tapir. It's moving, but not naturally. Small, round. It hums. The tapir perks up its ears. That sound, it's not a forest sound. Not a bird, not an insect. Not any known danger. This is new. This is artificial. The tapir lifts its head. In the light filtering through the trees, something shines. Its eyes squint. It moves, but it has no wings. How can something fly without wings? In the tapir's world, everything either walks, flies, or crawls. This is something else. Instead of 4 little legs, 4 propellers. It has no eyes, but it feels like it sees you. It makes sound, but it has no mouth. What kind of animal is this? The tapir takes 3 steps back. Its snout trembles. It's not fear, it's confusion. For the first time in his life, it cannot describe something. In the Amazon, everything has a place, a sound, a smell. This fits none of them. The tapir has seen many things in its life. An iguana falling on its back in the middle of the night, an armadillo dancing under the moonlight, even 2 drunk parrots singing loudly from across the river. But this is another dimension. It takes 1 step closer to the drone. Its head is slightly tilted. Its pupils are narrowed. It gives a look as if to say, "Are you dangerous?" The drone doesn't answer, but it slightly turns, as if it's studying the tapir. And in that moment, an old fear awakens inside the tapir, one that resembles the fear its mother told it about the day it was born. You know, the one, if you see a human, run, because they watch but don't understand. They catch but don't let go. They don't protect, they tag. The tapir remembers the old stories, the ones where humans came, cut down parts of the forest, put small shiny boxes on some tapirs, and then those tapirs were never seen again. The drone makes a sound. Whir, vuv. It lowered a little. The tapir froze. Its fur stood on end. If a tapir is scratching, that's normal. But if it's trembling while doing nothing, that is fear. The drone came a bit closer. Now it wasn't just watching, it was recording. A red light was cast on the tapir. It turned its head from side to side. What is this now? Am I prey? A subject? An untagged item? The tapir turned around and started running, slow but determined. The forest made way for it. As it dragged its heavy body through the bushes, even the smell of the mud reaching its snout made it feel safe. Because what's familiar, even if dangerous, at least is familiar. The drone followed for a while behind. Then the sound drifted away. When the tapir stopped, there was a tree to its left. The same tree, the one it greeted every morning. This time it didn't greet it. It just stood there, breathed, lowered its ears. That morning, for the first time, the forest felt unfamiliar to it. And from that moment on, everything changed a little. Because now, inside that forest, the tapir was not alone. There was no one like it. But there were those who knew where it was. Even after the drone left, the tapir's heart kept pounding. It realized then that the forest was no longer the same. Here, the old order it once knew was gone. Its eyes were in constant motion. With every rustling leaf, every chirping bird, it wondered, what was that sound? Has it come back? The other animals noticed this change in it. The capybara, the big boss of the forest, approached. "Hey buddy, why are you panicking like this?" And then walking slowly, if you've noticed, he said. The tapir coughed lightly. "I don't know," he said. "That flying thing came, stopped, then left. I didn't get it." The capybara frowned. "Flying thing? Is it those humans again? Look, there was one at our place last month. Weird things. They hum a little, and we got spooked too." As the tapir scratched his snout, a question popped into his head. I wonder if the forest still belongs to us. That question was so heavy and complex that the tapir couldn't answer it. But he felt that his old life was slipping further away. Then a new idea popped into the tapir's head. Maybe I should make a plan. Of course, what we call a plan, for him, just meant being seen less. He decided to spend the rest of the day hiding. He walked into the bushes, blended in with the leaves. With every step, he listened carefully to his surroundings. But at the same time, he was really bored. Hiding all the time isn't easy, he thought. Or maybe this life just isn't for me. At that moment, a familiar sound echoed from deep in the forest. Craw! Craw! It was his old friend, the grumpy owl. The owl looked at the tapir and said in a mocking tone, "Wake up, buddy. The forest has changed. If you want to live, you have to follow the new rules." The tapir was a little annoyed, but couldn't help agreeing. "All right," he said. "Then tell me those new rules, so I can learn." The owl laughed, then got a little serious. Rule 1, hide from humans. Rule 2, make no sound. Rule 3, be careful when you eat, because they're watching everything. The tapir nodded. "It's going to be hard," he said. That day was a new beginning for the tapir, filled with both fear and curiosity. But most importantly, he was no longer alone. The forest was changing, and in the middle of that change, he was trying to survive. And so the tapir's new life began, keeping his eyes wide open, ears alert, and most importantly, avoiding humans. After resting a bit deep in the forest, the tapir closed his eyes. In his mind, an old voice echoed, his mother's voice. Back when he was little, she used to tell him at night, "Listen, my child, this forest may be beautiful, but it's full of dangers. There's a trap around every corner." The tapir opened his eyes and looked at the forest. Even back then, he thought, those words were true. His mother had told him, one time, while sleeping at night, you'd hear the jaguar's claws make a sound, but you'd never see it, because the jaguar is silent, sneaky. It walks among the shadows and waits for its prey. Back then, the tapir used to be terrified, but now, that fear had become his reality. His mother had gone on, and the bees are the worst. Small, but they sting. Sometimes, with just one sting, you'll feel it for days. The tapir rubbed his snout. He remembered the bee attack from earlier today. It's really true, he said to himself. Most importantly, his mother used to emphasize, "You're alone in the forest, my child. You can only rely on yourself. Other animals may be your friends, but they'll never truly help you, because they're also trying to survive." The tapir thought about this. The feeling of loneliness slowly settled into his heart. One night, his mother had told him, "If you see one of the humans, run, because they are neither sensitive nor compassionate. They only live in their own world, and don't let them turn the forest into their world." Back then, he hadn't understood. But now he felt the weight of those words. The tapir compared the past and the present. That young tapir was very different from the tapir he was today. More innocent, more carefree. Now though, he knew every sound, every shadow could be a threat. And in that moment he realized being a tapir isn't just a heavy burden. It's a lifelong weight to carry. Because being born a tapir is not always as simple as you'd like it to be. The next morning, the tapir woke up earlier. Before opening his eyes, he listened with his snout. The air, the same. The smells, the same. The sounds, vrrr. Again, the tapir quickly got up, perked his ears, but this time there was no drone, just a fly. The giant tapir nearly had a heart attack over a fly. Now every sound was a possibility. Buzz. Could it be another drone? Rustle. Is it a human again? Craw. The old enemy bird or a new one? There was a constant alarm going off in his head. The once calm animal that only chewed on grass was now alert like a security guard. Around noon, he decided to go deeper into the forest. Maybe the signal is weaker over there, he said to himself. But he didn't quite know what he meant by signal. Maybe I've started thinking like a human, he thought. Even the tapir's inner voice had changed by now. In the afternoon, he stopped by a stream. The water was clear. He wanted to drink, but he hadn't been able to the day before because there were jaguar tracks. He looked today, no tracks, but his instinct said stop. In that moment, the tapir realized something. Fear no longer came from the outside. It was inside him now. This was a new level. Now the enemy wasn't in the forest. It was in his head. Every bird sound was a suspicion. Every rustling leaf, a threat. The tapir was no longer managing his life. He was just defending it. At that very moment, a sound came from the bushes. Shap, shap, shap. A large, round body, slow but deliberate. And then that familiar face, a capybara. It had come again, but this time it wasn't alone. Behind it was a small group, a toucan, 2 armadillos, and an iguana. They were all silent. The capybara stepped forward. Friend, it said, we need to talk. The tapir stepped back a little. What's going on? The capybara narrowed its eyes and said, these new, weird behaviors of yours, they scare the others. The toucan cut in. Yesterday, when you drank water, you stared at me without blinking. I got scared. One of the armadillos added, because of you, even the sound of a pine cone makes me jump now. The tapir didn't know what to say, because they were right. Even it was sometimes scared of itself. Then the capybara added in a serious tone, look, we love you, but if you keep roaming around paranoid like that, this forest will become unlivable. If humans have come, fine, but we are still here. This place is still ours. The tapir lowered its head. For the first time in a long while, a single sentence warmed its heart. Maybe it shouldn't be so afraid after all. Maybe even if something bad happened, it wasn't alone. Because in the forest, there were still silly friendships, unlikely moments of courage, and the iguana's bizarre jokes. After that conversation, the tapir felt a little better. The capybara's words echoed in its mind. Humans may have come, but we are still here. Maybe it needed to face its fears. Maybe it could get a bit of its old self back. That afternoon, it lay down in a small clearing of grass. Sunlight filtered through the leaves. A gentle breeze blew. It was a rare moment of peace for the tapir. Not bad right now, it thought. I mean, my snout's still ridiculously big, but at least there's no drone overhead. But just then, crt, then a shrack. Then a few leaves were crushed. The tapir froze. The sounds were unfamiliar. No, this wasn't an animal walking. This was a shoe. It glanced with its left eye, and there it was, a human, a real human, holding something metallic, wearing a bright vest. Their eyes searched through the forest. Maybe what they were looking for was the tapir. The tapir's heart raced. It held its breath. It didn't move. If there's one advantage to being a tapir, it's this. They can stand statue-like for a long time, but this time it didn't work. Because humans don't just look, they listen. And just then, the tapir's snout, "Sneeze it! Hapsha!" The human flinched. Their eyes locked on the tapir. The tapir froze, then it stepped back. The human took a step forward. "Tapir, run!" The tapir bolted. Grass flew. Birds scattered. Leaf crunch after leaf crunch. Panicked breaths. And then came, "Alex! Tapir! There's a tapir here." The tapir heard that name for the first time. Who the heck is Alex? Is that person coming too? How many of them are there? It barreled through broken branches. No matter how fast it ran, its snout kept smacking into things. It tripped, got up, rolled, as though its own body didn't agree with the escape plan. This escape plan wasn't well thought out, its inner voice said, but surviving isn't about planning. It's just about running. Finally, it reached a riverbank. Out of breath, the water was murky, but there was nothing else to do. No thinking, no planning, just leap. Sloop! Water enveloped it. It opened its eyes. No human voice. Silence. Just the sound of its heartbeat. Maybe this time it escaped. But that moment reminded it of something. The forest used to be its refuge, but now a whole new world was chasing it. The water was cool. When it poked its head above the surface, nothing was familiar. The trees were different, the scents intense. Even the bird calls were sharper. The tapir stepped out of the water. Its feet sunk into the mud. This place was not its forest, but maybe other runaways like it were here too. The first creature it encountered was dangling from a thin tree branch. Bright in color, one eye a little crooked, voice shrill. "Hey," the creature said, "are you a fugitive too?" The tapir narrowed its eyes. "A fugitive? What are you talking about?" "Everyone's like that here," the creature said. "I'm a lemur. I'm normally from Madagascar, but things got messy." The tapir was surprised. "You mean you ended up here because of humans?" The lemur nodded. "They were shooting a documentary. Then it went viral on YouTube, so they transferred me to another location. Protected, they said, but apparently you get a bonus for good footage. So, here I am." The tapir struggled to process that. Once the word protected would bring comfort. Now, it felt like a strategy. Then a turtle approached, walking very slowly, but with sharp, clear eyes. "Are you from the documentary zone too?" it asked. Tapir. "No, I was normal." The turtle nodded. "Well then, watch out, because here 2 types of animals live. Those who cooperate with humans, and those who resist staying wild. There's no in between." The tapir quietly settled by a tree trunk. "So," it said, "am I going to be like them? Or hide?" The lemur interjected. "You can't hide, my friend. They send drones, track you, even analyze your poop." The tapir flinched. "What? Poop?" "Yes. They want to know what you've eaten. Because what you eat could be potential marketing data." Those words stunned the tapir. Now its poop had become metadata. The thing it did every morning since birth. Now it was floating around in someone's computer PDF. Suddenly, a distant bell rang. The lemur instantly sprang up. "The documentary crew's coming. Everyone get in place." "Turtle, they're not interested in me. I'm old." The lemur climbed a tree. The turtle slowly retreated into the earth. The tapir had no idea what to do, because now it wasn't just about being seen or unseen. It was about what it represented. The tapir represented a way of life, and that way of life was now something to be displayed on shelves. A camera clicked. Kit RK! The tapir held still. Now it was a figure in the lens. Its posture, angle, lighting. It was no longer a tapir. It was content. As the sun dips slowly below the horizon, the jungle begins its nightly symphony. Soft whispers of leaves swaying in the gentle evening breeze create a calming melody. The dense canopy overhead filters the fading sunlight, casting long, dancing shadows on the forest floor. Here, in this vast, ancient ecosystem, every leaf, every insect, every drop of water plays a vital role in the delicate balance of life. The jungle is alive, yet peaceful, an ever-changing tapestry of growth, decay, and renewal. As darkness falls, the creatures of the night awaken, each with their own story to tell. Towering trees stretch toward the sky, their branches intertwining to form a lush green ceiling. This canopy is not just a roof, it is a bustling city in itself. Birds of vibrant colors flit between branches, singing their evening songs. Monkeys swing gracefully, their movements fluid and effortless. Beneath the canopy, vines hang like ancient ropes, draping the forest in a web of life. The canopy shelters the forest floor, protecting it from harsh sunlight and heavy rains, creating a unique environment for shade-loving plants and creatures. Down below the forest floor is a world of shadows and subtle movements. Fallen leaves form a soft carpet, muffling the footsteps of creatures that roam the night. In the dim light, insects scuttle and crawl, busy with their nightly tasks. The rich soil beneath is teeming with life, from tiny worms that aerate the earth to fungi that break down fallen organic matter, returning nutrients to the soil. This cycle of decomposition is crucial, feeding the roots of mighty trees and sustaining the entire forest. Occasionally, a soft rain begins to fall, its delicate droplets pattering against leaves and the forest floor. The rain brings relief to thirsty plants and animals, refreshing the ecosystem. Each drop carries a story, falling from the sky, landing on leaves, trickling down trunks, pooling in small puddles. In these puddles, frogs find shelter, and insects lay their eggs, continuing the circle of life. As darkness deepens, the sounds of the jungle shift. The chorus of crickets begins, filling the air with rhythmic chirping. Night birds call softly, their songs weaving through the trees. Occasionally, a distant howl echoes, the call of a lone predator, or perhaps a call to a mate. These sounds create a soothing backdrop, a lullaby composed by nature itself. The jungle is more than just a collection of trees and animals. It is a vital part of the Earth's lungs, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. Its plants and trees regulate climate, influence rainfall patterns, and provide shelter to countless species. The jungle is a living library holding secrets of evolution, medicine, and survival. Protecting this incredible ecosystem is crucial for the tapir, for you, and for the entire planet. As night deepens, a peaceful calm settles over the forest. The stars begin to peek through gaps in the canopy, twinkling softly above. The gentle rustle of leaves whispers a lullaby to the creatures below. And as you listen to this ancient song, you too begin to relax, your breath slowing, your mind quieting. Here in the heart of the jungle, peace reigns. Rest now. Tomorrow is another day in this endless dance of life. As the day gently fades away, the sun dips lower behind the distant hills, casting a soft amber glow across the dense jungle canopy. The leaves shimmer faintly, reflecting the last warmth of daylight. The air is thick with the scent of earth and growing things, a rich perfume that speaks of life's endless cycles. Beneath the towering trees, the forest prepares for night as shadows deepen and the temperature cools. Every creature slows its pace, every branch settles, and the jungle breathes in quiet harmony. The towering trees themselves are ancient giants, some reaching hundreds of feet into the sky. Their trunks are thick and strong, wrapped in layers of moss and climbing vines. Bark textured like wrinkled skin tells stories of storms weathered and seasons past. These trees form a living cathedral, their leaves and branches creating a protective roof that shelters everything beneath. In this high canopy, birds flit softly, their feathers glowing in the dying light. A lone parrot's gentle call echoes briefly, then fades into the silence. Closer to the ground, the jungle floor is a different world entirely. Here, the light barely touches the soil, filtered by the thick canopy above. Fallen leaves and rotting wood create a soft carpet, muffling footsteps and providing homes for countless insects and small creatures. Tiny ants march diligently along hidden trails, their mission ongoing and silent. Worms work beneath the surface, turning earth and enriching the soil with nutrients that will feed next season's growth. Water moves quietly through the forest, sometimes trickling in a tiny stream, other times pooling in shaded hollows. This water is life's constant companion here. It nourishes roots, offers drink to animals, and creates microhabitats for frogs and insects alike. The gentle ripple of a stream soothes the soul, its steady flow a reminder of nature's patient rhythms. As the sun disappears fully, the forest changes again. Shadows lengthen and merge, cloaking the jungle in darkness. Yet life continues, shifting from day's bustle to night's subtle dance. Crickets begin their song, a gentle chorus that fills the air with steady rhythms. Owls hoot softly in the distance, their calls weaving through the trees like whispers. The wind carries a cool breath through the leaves, rustling softly as it moves. It stirs the ferns and brushes the tall grass, creating waves of motion that shimmer under the moonlight. This wind brings the promise of rest and renewal, a gentle lullaby sung by the forest itself. With each passing moment, the world grows quieter, calmer, more peaceful. The jungle is a web of life, intricate and delicate. Every leaf, every insect, every drop of dew is connected. Trees depend on insects for pollination, while insects rely on plants for food and shelter. Birds spread seeds far and wide, planting the future deep within the earth. Predators keep populations balanced, ensuring the jungle's harmony endures. Beneath the soil, unseen but vital, fungi weave a vast underground network. This wood-wide web connects tree roots, allowing them to share nutrients and communicate in ways we are just beginning to understand. It is a silent, invisible community that sustains life above ground. The jungle is not just a place, it is a living, breathing organism. Tonight, as the stars begin to twinkle overhead, the forest's secrets remain hidden beneath the velvet sky. Moonlight filters softly through gaps in the canopy, casting silver patterns on the leaves and the forest floor. Fireflies flicker like tiny lanterns, dancing in the humid air. This is a world of magic and mystery, alive with unseen wonders. In this moment, all is calm. The jungle's pulse slows, and a peace settles over the land. as you listen to the soft symphony of nature, the rustling leaves, the distant calls, the gentle flow of water. As the first light of dawn brushes the treetops, the forest begins to stir. The air is cool and damp, heavy with the scent of moss and earth. Wisps of fog hover just above the ground, weaving through the undergrowth like wandering spirits. Each droplet of morning dew clings delicately to the edge of a leaf, catching the pale sunlight like tiny crystals. In this quiet, time seems to slow. There are no alarms, no footsteps, no traffic, only the soft rustle of leaves as a breeze stirs the canopy overhead, and the distant call of a thrush greeting the day. This is not silence. This is the language of the wild, spoken in whispers. Towering trees stretch upward, their trunks thick with age and stories. Some have stood for centuries, bearing witness to storms, migrations, and the quiet rhythm of life. Their bark is rough, scarred by time, but alive. Beneath them, 1,000 other lives unfold in secret, ants mapping invisible highways, mushrooms silently blooming in the dark, and foxes padding silently over moss-covered ground. Walking deeper into the forest feels like stepping into a cathedral built by time. The canopy arches above like a vaulted ceiling, filtering sunlight into gentle shafts that spotlight the floor below. Ferns uncurl slowly, their spirals ancient and unchanged. Vines dangle like chandeliers from above. Every inch of space is filled with something alive, or something decaying, both equally vital. Insects hum and click all around. Their sounds blend into a constant background texture that many ears fail to notice, but it is the heartbeat of the forest. Birds call to one another in coded melodies, marking territories, finding mates, or simply singing because the morning asks them to. The woodpecker taps out its presence like a carpenter on duty, sending echoes through the branches. Even in the stillness, motion exists. A squirrel leaps between limbs like a shadow, barely disturbing the leaves. A deer watches from behind a thicket, perfectly still yet completely aware. And under it all, beneath the visible world, the forest floor teems with unseen activity. The slow crawl of beetles, the tunneling of earthworms, the delicate spread of fungal threads. The forest is not just a place, it's a vertical world, layered in stories. High above, the emergent layer belongs to the giants, the tallest trees that stretch beyond the canopy, catching full sunlight and wind. Eagles and hawks nest here, gliding from branch to branch in the open air. Below that lies the canopy, a dense tangle of leaves and branches that forms the forest's living roof. Here, monkeys swing, birds nest, and sloths dangle like lazy ornaments. The canopy is where light meets life, and competition is fierce. Every inch of sunlight is a prize, every bloom an invitation to pollinators. The understory is dimmer and quieter, a realm of shade and patience. Ferns, shrubs, and saplings grow slowly, waiting for a chance to rise. Jaguars and leopards, masters of stealth, move silently here. Reptiles blend into bark, and frogs find refuge in the damp. At the bottom lies the forest floor, a place of decay and rebirth. Dead leaves carpet the ground, feeding a world that is more alive than it seems. Fungi break down the fallen, insects digest the waste, and the roots of giants drink the water that cycles endlessly below. Time in the forest doesn't tick, it flows, not in seconds or minutes, but in the slow rhythms of growth and decay. A seedling may take decades to reach the sunlight. A fallen tree, once mighty, will feed the forest for centuries after its death. This is a place that remembers. Tree rings tell the story of floods and droughts, of years when the sun was strong or the winds were harsh. Each scar, each twist in a branch, is a response to something: a freeze, a fire, a grazing animal. The forest records its own history, not in books, but in bark and roots. Humans, in contrast, tend to think in days or months, but here lifespans stretch beyond generations. Some redwoods have stood for over 2,000 years. Imagine that, growing through wars, empires, and revolutions, silent witnesses to everything, saying nothing. A forest is not just a collection of trees, it's a living machine. It breathes, drinks, and feeds. Every leaf is a lung, pulling carbon dioxide from the air and pushing oxygen back out. Every root is a straw, drawing up water from deep underground and sending it skyward. In the Amazon, trees release so much moisture through a process called transpiration that they actually help create rain. It's a feedback loop. The forest creates its own weather. Destroy the trees, and the rain stops. When the rain stops, the forest dies. Everything is connected. Sunlight, captured in leaves, fuels this entire system. Energy flows from the smallest green blade to the largest predator. It's the same sun, day after day, that drives all of it, a constant in a world of change. Beneath the surface, where light never reaches, another world exists, a secret network of life known as the Wood Wide Web. Fungi, particularly mycorrhizal fungi, form vast underground networks that connect tree to tree, species to species. Through these filaments, trees can send nutrients, signals, and even warnings. When one tree is attacked by pests, it can alert others through chemical signals sent underground. A dying tree might funnel its remaining energy into a younger one nearby. This isn't myth, it's ecology. The forest is far more intelligent than we once believed. Fungi are the great recyclers. They break down fallen wood, leaf litter, even animal remains. Without fungi, forests would choke on their own dead. But more than that, fungi create the soil, the nutrients, and the life that future generations depend on. From the tiniest ant to the largest bear, the forest is teeming with life. Some creatures are obvious: deer grazing in the clearing, owls perched in the branches, wolves howling in the distance. Others are nearly invisible: camouflaged insects, burrowing rodents, or snakes blending perfectly into the undergrowth. Birds play a crucial role. They disperse seeds, pollinate plants, and control insect populations. A single bird species may eat hundreds of insects a day, helping to maintain balance. Insects, often overlooked, are the true engineers. Ants aerate the soil. Bees enable reproduction. Beetles clean up decay. Every bug has a job. Remove them and the system collapses. Even predators serve the system. Wolves, for example, help regulate deer populations. Too many deer, and the young trees never grow. With predators, balance returns. Not every forest remains untouched. Some are scarred by fire, ravaged by logging, or eaten away by disease. Deforestation strips away not just trees, but entire ecosystems. Once gone, the complex web is hard, sometimes impossible, to rebuild. Climate change brings further danger. Droughts weaken trees, fires burn hotter and longer. Invasive species outcompete native ones. Even subtle shifts in temperature can break delicate cycles. Blooming times, migrations, food availability. And yet, the forest can also heal. Given time, it fights back. Saplings rise from ash. Animals return to abandoned spaces. But recovery depends on one thing: whether we allow it. Humans have lived with forests since the beginning. We've used their wood for warmth, their herbs for healing, their fruits for food. But somewhere along the way, The balance tilted. We took more than we gave. Now science and tradition are meeting again. Indigenous knowledge reminds us that the forest is not a resource, it is a home, a partner, a living system. And as climate crises deepen, we are starting to listen. Reforestation, conservation, and protected reserves are not luxuries. They are lifelines. Forests store carbon, protect watersheds, support biodiversity, and offer peace. They are not separate from us. They are part of our lungs, our memory, our planet. As night falls, the forest shifts. Day creatures sleep, and the nocturnal ones emerge. The calls change, from birds to owls, from buzzing to croaking. Eyes glint in the dark, curious, cautious, alive. The moon casts silver shadows between the trees. Fireflies blink messages in code. Somewhere, a branch cracks under the weight of a prowling feline. The air cools, heavy with the scent of wet bark and moss. In this darkness, something ancient stirs. Not fear, but humility. A sense that we are small, that we are visitors. The forest doesn't need us, but we need the forest. If you sit quietly, breathing in rhythm with the leaves, you might hear it, the deep, slow heartbeat of Earth itself. Forests are often called the lungs of the planet, but this is more than poetic. Every tree, every leaf, every microscopic cell is engaged in a constant, silent exchange. Through the process of photosynthesis, forests absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, a gift we often take for granted. Standing in the heart of a living forest, the air feels different, richer, cleaner, somehow more alive. It's not imagination, it's chemistry. Water too follows invisible pathways, winding its way from the depths of the soil up through roots, into trunks, and finally to the sky. In tropical rainforests, where transpiration is most intense, trees can release hundreds of gallons of water into the air each day. That moisture gathers into clouds and returns as rain, forming a loop so efficient it sustains entire ecosystems. Without forests, rainfall patterns collapse, rivers dry, and deserts advance.